Apparently in New York City, in the subway, a homeless person, a houseless person by the name of Jordan Neely was choked to death for over 15 minutes by a Marine. This is apparently the main story that the right-wing circles are hitting, saying that this was totally a just circumstance of someone taking matters in their own hands, not entirely aware of the actions that took place before in the lead up to a 15-minute choke slam session that ended up executing this person. This is Jordan Neely, a hungry New Yorker choked to death by a grinning Marine who is being celebrated as a hero by NYPD and press. His offense, aggressive speech, throwing his jacket on the ground and asking for food and water. Shocking video shows New York City subway passenger putting unhinged man in deadly chokehold. The original title, by the way, which is the New York Post, the most insane right-wing drab of all time, was shocking video shows vagrant being choked to death on New York City subway. Vagrant. Whenever I hear that term, when they're referencing human beings, I immediately know. The New York Times is using passive voice reporting on a vigilante choking out a homeless guy. Yeah, because remember what I told you? That, like, it's not just the cops that have lethal capabilities now. It's every average American. Like, the average American, especially on depending on who their victim is, also has the same level of lack of accountability, the same lack of accountability that the average cop has when it comes to killing people, especially if it's an unhoused person. If it's a human being that is homeless, then, that's how it works. I don't want to show you the footage of it, but a homeless black man, Jordan Neely, who was 30 years old, was screaming that he was hungry, had no food, threw his jacket down on the train, and the blonde guy decided to choke him for 15 minutes for no reason. EMS could not revive Neely. No charges have been filed. And the passengers on the train, including the person shooting the video, said the man did not physically attack anyone before he was taken down. Per ABC7, the 24-year-old Marine, who had 2 deployments and knows some MMA moves, admitted to the police that he wasn't threatened by Jordan Neely, but he came up from behind him and put him in a chokehold for 15 minutes. Video shows a strap hanger. What is a strap hanger? Dramatic new video shows a strap hanger taking matters into his own hands, pinning down an unhinged man in a deadly incident on a Manhattan subway station this week. A subway rider is called a strap hanger? I had never heard that before. Adam Server with a rare good take. No, Adam Server actually does have really good takes on certain issues. If a homeless man makes me uncomfortable, the sentence is death is the kind of public argument that people should be embarrassed to make in public, except no, they're not. I saw a guy overdose on the train last week. A homeless guy on the subway tried to attack my wife on her way to work just a few months ago, thrusting a pointed umbrella at her. There was no one around. There's obvious social disillusion going on, and no one seems to know what to do. You're going to be sanctimonious when people start defending themselves and others, no matter how ill-advised. So here's the problem, okay? I don't know if those stories are fake. But it's a very common experience because we have decided that, we are going to make the housing market unmanageable, and we are not going to provide any solutions to people who are literally living outdoors and braving the fucking elements for years on end, and that trauma and the assault and the sexual harassment that happens to them, and the possible drug usage that you engage in an effort to self-medicate that fries your fucking brain over the course of many, many years, basically turns you into a walking, living, breathing fucking zombie, and then the government doesn't do anything to interfere in the process other than violent police action, and even then, that's not always the fucking case, right? Which is not necessarily a bad thing that that's not always the case, that it doesn't happen regularly. Like, intervention happens not often, but when it does, it's incredibly violent, okay? So do not misunderstand what I'm saying here. And then we are just, leaving matters into the hands of, random fucking vigilantes. It's great. Wonderful. Very cool. This is going to keep happening. It's going to happen more frequently, as a matter of fact. And what's the expectation here? Having said this, is it also normal? Is it normal and good and perfectly reasonable to just have to constantly, especially if you're a smaller person, you know what I mean? Or, someone who does not have the capability to defend themselves, someone that's not very confident in their physical ability to literally sit there and be okay, I don't know if I have to fucking dodge someone who's screaming at me who might actually fucking assault me. No, of course not. I'm sorry. That is not normal. Okay. Not normal. The government has to do something about it. That's why we fucking pay taxes, man. It's ridiculous that we have criminalized homeless people. We have criminalized existence in this goddamn country. We do nothing to solve it. And then we just like basically leave matters into the hands of the people. And because the cops are also fucking dog shit at their jobs in general too, and only engage in like incredibly violent fucking ways, and usually not at all because, you know, their feelings are hurt, I think, or something, or they're not getting paid enough. Like $8 million a day is not enough for the LAPD as far as funds goes. You know what I mean? That like now people are just going, I'm going to take matters in my own hands. Now the Manhattan DA's office is investigating after Jordan Neely dies following a subway chokehold incident. It's like, brother, why are you talking like a cop did this? You want to know why? That's deliberate. That's by design. Because cops are doing the blue flu shit. So now it's like up to the fucking citizens to also enact in the same exact violent, psychotic fucking ways. Okay? So now the media is doing the same fucking defense for like random vigilante people, as long as like the victims are black and homeless, that they would have done for the cops. Here's Olayemi's take on it.
Incredibly frustrating about New York City is that it paints itself like it's this big, diverse, progressive city. Like, oh, it's a blue state. Oh, the liberals. Meanwhile, I have never seen the level of disparity and dehumanization between different populations of people in my life. Like, just think about this. And this is something I know as both just a...
Same goes for California, too. Los Angeles is the same way with their mistreatment of homeless people. Like, they're fucking, you know, not human beings. Part of that is because the media is constantly fucking hamming on this narrative. Another part of that is, and people get fucking mad at me sometimes when I mention this, but another part of that is because, like, yeah, if you're living in a fucking big city and you're constantly seeing people on the sidewalk just like roll up on you and fucking yell at you and shit, I avoid it. It doesn't matter to me, but I'm a big fucking dude. I get why some people might be scared. I mean, look, for me in particular, I've talked about this before. There's a dude that loves jerking off, okay? There's a dude that literally loves jerking off, whipping his cock out and masturbating furiously, okay? For me, it's whatever. What the fuck's he gonna do? You know what I mean? I just, when I'm walking around my house, it's one thing. But I also don't feel all that safe if it's my mom walking around. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. In a normal society, okay, that person should be getting the proper one. That person should be jerking off in a house and not outside in a fucking sidewalk. And in a normal society, that person would be getting help for the very clear, obvious mental disabilities that he has, like the litany of fucking mental disabilities he has. That dude also tries to literally fucking break into my house, okay? Every now and then. It's in front of my house. Yeah, I know. He will randomly at like 6 a.m. show up on my fucking cameras trying to break into the house. I don't know what he's going to do if he breaks into the house. Not that big of a deal at the end of the day. I can deal with it on my own. But like, it's just like, it's not good that this is happening. It's not. It is an abject failure of the systems that we exist under, that like a dude is doing this shit. My immediate solution to this problem, of course, isn't like kill the guy, or isn't like call the police so they come and kill the guy. You know what I mean? I'm not going to outsource the violence of the police force. We don't live in a normal society though. So when that shit is happening and you see it in the media all the fucking time, no matter how woke you are, no matter how liberal you are, okay, and plenty of people claim that they're liberal, but they're not really even liberal when it comes to this kind of thing. They get like incredibly fucking violent, and I've heard liberals say the most like blood boiling shit as it pertains to like homeless people, calling them fucking vagrants and all this shit.
Black person running around New York, and as a public defender. You will get arrested at the subway station if they perceive you as jumping through the turnstile, annoying somebody on the train. Like, look at the way that they characterize a homeless man with mental health issues because he is acting erratic. That justifies somebody murdering him. Meanwhile, you as a black person couldn't so much as jump on that train for free and let NYPD see you without being arrested. They put 1,000 new police officers in the subway station to harass and terrorize the homeless people. Then, once they took them out the subway, they put more police officers on the street to tear up their encampments and harass them there, right? These are the subway stations where homeless people can't even be seen. They can't even stand, talk, do regular, lay down on the subway without being harassed by NYPD. But a white person could walk into that subway station, get on that subway train, and put a black man in a chokehold for 15 minutes and kill him and walk past NYPD and go home.
You know what's crazy about it? If a cop did that, that cop would not be as celebrated, I think. Because like the expectation is that they're trained. So like doing that is like completely fucking unhinged, right? Like sure, there will still be people celebrating it. People going, oh dude, that's awesome. Like what do you mean? Like this is a vagrant that was dealt with, obviously. But because it's a human vigilante, like a normie, a civilian, people are like, oh, I wish that was me in that situation. He was also like a famous Subway performer as well. He was a Michael Jackson impersonator with a loving fan base who documented his performance over the course of the years. If you rode the subway in the last 10 years and stumbled into a spry, joyful MJ, it was likely Neely. A year and a half ago, his fans noticed his absence. He's currently missing in New York, and now he's 28 or 29 years old, but he's an amazing impersonator of Michael Jackson, and he's so cute, and I don't want to end his talent. He will come back. I believe that he will rise again and come back to us. If you know him, please pass this channel on to him. I will support him until that time comes. Please help us. On January 2022, a fan uploaded a video of him and asked, where is he currently? And in February 2022 above, captioned, he's currently missing in New York. I believe he'll come back again. But here's the thing. We shouldn't expect someone to be a beloved performer in the New York subway lines for you to like assume humanity in them. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. And even then, no one gives a shit. No one fucking believes that there is any empathy passed on to the victim in this regard because the victim is homeless.
It's an unfortunate situation, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, we all want to feel safe at some point.
Two other riders are seen as well trying to restrain the 30-year-old's arms before he's let go, lifeless on the ground.
I don't think anyone should like die or anything like that. That's kind of crazy, but I mean, I guess it's like a problem that needs to be fixed.
See, this is the reason why this is the average citizen's fucking perspective is literally because they are not thinking about the incident that took place. They are conditioned into thinking that the homeless person is not human. And on top of that, they themselves probably have an experience where they were fucking scared themselves in a situation where they're like, oh, I don't know what the fuck to do. What I personally think about this horrifying fucking instance is entirely separate from why people are literally behaving like this. If you don't understand why people are reacting this way to a literal fucking murder, you are failing to understand what the average citizen's perspective is on the homelessness issue, and you will always fall short of trying to cater your messaging directly towards an audience that does not see homeless people as human beings. You can't write off every fucking normal human that you see on the street and assume that they're like violent, unhinged fascists because of their lack of care in this regard. Yes, they are behaving in a way that is consistent with those principles. But the reason why they are so desensitized to this level of violence is obviously an issue that contains multitudes, right? America has a very violent culture, yada yada yada. For the most part, the reason why they're talking about it like it's not the worst thing that has happened, and they're just like a nuisance that was dealt with, is because they also have a similar experience or something that like they have seen on television. They have seen this kind of violence, and they think that like this is a terrifying prospect. Okay. Police sources say Neely, who eventually fell unconscious, is a 30-year-old homeless man who had allegedly been throwing trash and yelling at passengers. Sources say things turned physical when a 24-year-old Marine from Queens tried to subdue him while telling others to call 911. It's an unfortunate situation, but at the same time, we all want to feel safe at some point, one person said. Two other riders could be seen as well trying to restrain Neely's arms before he's let go, apparently lifeless on the ground. The National Action Network demands district attorney and police investigate this horrific incident as a potential case of manslaughter, if not murder, Reverend Al Sharpton said. 30 years ago, I fought the Bernard Goetz case, and we cannot end up back in a place where vigilantism is tolerable. Jordan Neely was choked to death by a stranger in the New York City subway while experiencing a mental health crisis. Countless broken systems failed Jordan and led to this moment, including community perceptions of mental illness. We must end the notion that erratic behavior is grounds for a death sentence, State Senator Sammer Brooks said. Like so many others, I have questions about what took place and during and before Jordan's mental health crisis. Where were support and outreach teams? Did anyone call 311 or 988? Had Jordan needed food, shelter, and treatment services in the days and weeks before this murder? And most importantly, where was the compassion? These are great questions to ask. Vasquez, who was on his way to Yonkers on Monday, said Neely barged into the train at the 2nd Avenue station and quickly began screaming and yelling at riders, prompting many to move away. Video taken later shows the man flailing his arms and legs in an effort to free himself as the strap hanger has him in a headlock and another bystander helps to hold him down on the floor of the subway train. He moved his arms, but he couldn't express anything, Vasquez said of Neely. All he could do was move his arms. Then suddenly he just stopped moving. Yeah, we're just like normalizing Kyle Rittenhouse style behavior all around, left and right. It's fucking crazy.